This jury will now come to order. Mr. Bailiff, has the jury come to a decision? Yes, Your Honor, he has. Guilty of jury duty. Oh, was that poorly executed? And I'll tell you why. I looked down. I was just doing some things. I looked down, and it's 10 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to go live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Video Call-In Show. That show that invites you to be a live video guest on this program to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about, whether it's the topic of the day. It could be personal promotions. It could be current events. It could be the weather. It doesn't matter. Joining is real easy. And in a minute, I'll show you exactly how. All you've got to do is point your browser to zoom.us, click on join a meeting, and enter the meeting number. When it asks for it, you will show up in my green room, and I will bring you up. First come, first serve, as time allows. I am your host, Jim, and I will be here for about the next hour. My job is to listen and learn to and about you. If that sounds like content, and believe me, it's better than this. If that sounds like content that is your bag, then by all means, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. And feel free to share my content out there. If you're a little leery of sharing it with your friends and family, why go to somewhere where you're anonymous, like Discord or Reddit, and share it there. I would certainly appreciate it. Tonight's subject has been brought to us by the Angel Munez Variety Show. That's right, the Angel Munez Variety Show. We all know Angel. He's a friend of the show. He's a great guy, and he does all sorts of content. Yes, he does. So make sure that if that sounds like something that's right for you, you check out Angel and show him some love if you feel so inclined. I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those guys that I subscribe to my tastes, and I would suspect everyone else, or I would expect, I should say, everyone else to do the same. It's just that simple. I don't want people to subscribe that don't want to watch my show or didn't want to come on, because it's just as fun watching as it is coming on. Jacob, you should be a moderator, my friend. I thought I turned you into moderator now. By the way, you guys might be noticing in the chat that a lot of people have wrenches. Those are people who have been on the show or have been around long enough to where it's easy enough to judge their character. So just so you know. So jury duty. Angel brought this up, and I thought it was a great idea. Apparently, he had gotten a jury duty notice, which I'm sure he will come on tonight because he's in the chat. I'm sure he'll come on tonight and tell us how that turned out. I'll be very interested to know. But I also want to hear from you folks, your jury duty experiences, or how do you feel about getting your jury duty notice? Now, in the state of Indiana, and I can't attest to this in all 50 states, but in the state of Indiana, when you register to vote, you're automatically registered. You're put on the rolls for jury duty. Now, I haven't been called for a long time. I actually served on jury duty. That was right after my Jeep accident in 1990, I believe. Excuse me. I was in a rush to sit down tonight, so I apologize for that. And yeah, I passed the tests, because they ask you questions. They want to know who you are, what you're about, and see if you're the kind of juror they want, either for the defense or the plaintiffs. And apparently I passed muster and served, and it was a relatively short time, I think, and it wasn't one where we were sequestered, so we were able to go home during the trial. And I remember it vividly. It was an ATM robbery and kidnapping. And unfortunately, I'll say unfortunately because I think the guy was guilty, but unfortunately, we didn't have enough to convict. Now, the prosecutors told us later that it didn't matter because he was already wanted on murder charges in another case. And he was sure to go down for that. So, you know, be that as it may, that is how the justice system works in the United States anyway. And I know we've got some people outside the United States. In fact, let's talk to some of the folks in chat. Oh man, is it one of those nights? It is one of those nights. I don't know why it's one of those nights. I'm kind of excited actually, because after watching the Creator Spotlight show where Jacob Billet was the guest, I guess co-host, I got some ideas. And I love getting ideas because it makes it makes the fire burn, right? Fire in the belly. Got to have that fire in the belly burning if you hope to accomplish anything. If you don't have it, you usually end up floundering around and wasting time. So you get that fire in the belly, and it motivates you to. Not only does it help you become more creative with your ideas and initiatives, but also keeps you going. Let's say hello to Drone Kings in Darwin. How you doing, Brad? He says, I can neither confirm nor deny that I've been in front of a jury. Oh, well, I don't know if that's a duty. That's almost a choice. Oh, wait. I always get these topics wrong. How is the weather? Well, you'll be happy to know, Brad. It's been beautiful here. It was 80 degrees most of the day. No, and it was in the 80s. I want to say it was closer to 88. We got a cool down coming, but not much of one because it's supposed to, I believe, be in the high 80s, low 90s by the weekend. And this is in the heartland, in the middle of September. Go figure. Actually, working up on the end of September. Go figure. So, Luke Duke, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Germany Travel Personal Guide, Daring, good to see you as well. Howdy. And of course, there's Jacob Billet. Hey there to you as well, brother. Jim, Above and Beyond Drones, how are you doing? If you don't do it, so opinionated, liberal will. If you don't do it, so opinionated, liberal will. I may need help with that one. David the producer, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you as well. Angel, there's Angel Munez Variety Show. How you doing, Angel? I knew you'd be in here. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see who else we have here. We've got JD Tremaine. How you doing? Behind the 8 ball. Howdy. Jay Real Slots. Good to see you, man. It's been a while. Always happy to have you around. And of course, Patty Broussard, Array Artist. How you doing? Good to see you. So, I'll get more into the jury thing in a minute, but I want to talk a little bit about something really weird happened today. As much, not all of you, but some of you. Was that even a natural sound I just made? Some of you know that today was supposed to be the day that I had my head examined. It is actually the reason I'm wearing this hat. What I mean by that is I had some metal pulled out of my eye, actually drilled out of my eye in the mid 80s when I was in the military. I said this story before. What happened was I was bleeding the brakes on a deuce and a half because you have to bleed the air brakes on those every time you park them for any length of time. And, the motor pool, it wasn't even tarmac. We kept the deuce and halves in the gravel. Just had a lot of just scrap iron and went on it, and boom, one flew right in my eye. So then I could hardly even blink without it being extraordinarily painful. I could keep it closed and it was okay. So I basically kept it shut. Went on sick call. They patched it because they tried everything. They rolling Q-tips on the surface of my eye and flushing the shit out of it. It was not fun. So they sent me to Army Medical Center there in Fort Lewis. And after the diagnosis was, hey, you've got metal in your eye. I said, yeah. Or actually, yeah. they decided to go in and take it out. So what they did was, and you guys have all done eye tests. Have you not? Most of you who have driven have done eye tests. Hello, Bashful Round Table. How are you? Good to see you. So they set me in this, this frame. Of course, it clamped my head this time because you could not move. And they even clamped my eyelid open. And they put some drops in it, which were wonderful. They, when I was a young guy, I did a lot of drugs. And just leave it at that. But that was one of the best feelings in the world because I'd been tearing the hell out of my eyelid forever. And that whatever they did to numb it made it go away because it was really sore. So they've got me in this headlock contraption. And they've also clamped my eyelid open. And they shine this really, really bright light. So all I can see is like yellow and blue. And I remember this like it was yesterday. And I apologize if you've just got done eating. If you just got done eating, you're on the west. You're on the West Coast, and may not want to listen to this. So, and this is old school eye surgery, right? So what they did was they, after shining that light in, I could hear literally sounded like a power drill fires up over to my right, and all I see is the drill bit, and I can literally see the drill bit in my peripheral vision. And they told me, keep your eyes still. It wasn't like LASIK where, you get away with a whole bunch of weird stuff. So I kept my eyes still, and it hit. I could feel it, and it was, you just kind of feel the pulsations. It was numb, so I didn't get any real pain out of it. And then they pulled it out, and it was going really slow too, which I thought was strange. I'm a woodworker and a metal worker. My drills don't move that slow, but I could see the cut in the head of it. So they do that, and then they go in and apparently with forceps or something, they or tweezers perhaps, they pulled it out, and then they give me some drops, they give me a patch, and I'm good to go. Wife drives me home, and it was awesome. Where was I going with that story? Oh, so. Wow. Okay, Angel, I'm sorry. I'll get you up here in a minute, buddy. But now you guys should know, and you already do know, that you can pile on in the green room, and I'll bring you on one at a time as time allows. But if I get to a point and I don't have any other callers, I'll talk about stuff like this for a while, and then I'll end the show. So when you don't call in, I know you want me to shut the show down early. Okay. Yeah, let me get back to that story, Ghana. How you doing, Ghana? Good to see you as well. Andrew Frying Pan, welcome back to the show. Always a pleasure. Yes, absolutely. So they got me done there, and I patched up on a home. So the reason they wanted to take x-rays, when I say head examine, that's just a funny way of saying that. They wanted to take x-rays of my head to see if any metal remained in my eye, because you go into a magnetic resonance image machine and with some metal, and there could be trouble. I've heard stories that it can literally just pull it right out. Of course, I'm thinking, hey, if there's anything left, isn't that a good thing? Surely I'll have my eyes open. But anyway, I'm like, okay, let's get this X-ray done. So they schedule it. I've already got an MRI scheduled for this coming Saturday, right? 2 days from now. And so I go in there. They scheduled it for this morning at 9:15. So I go in and I do the kiosk sign in. I talk to some people and said, well, we'll get you back in about 5 minutes. The lady comes out to get me, and we're walking back, and she's just chit chat. She's like, have you ever gone through an MRI before? And I said, no. I said, she goes, well, it's real easy. When you get in the room, I said, wait, what? I said, I'm not here for an MRI. And she goes, you're not here for an MRI. I said, no, the MRI is scheduled for Saturday. I'm here to get x-rays to see if there are any metal in my eye. And she goes, oh, okay. Hold on. Sit right here, and I'll talk and find out what happened. Hey, I'm Living Art. How you doing? Good to see you. Wendell Live. Always a pleasure, my friend. You'll have to go back and watch the story if you guys haven't been lurking. And I'm working on 15 minutes of a very long story. I apologize. So let me get back to it real fast so I can finish this up. So I sit down. She walks away. She comes back maybe 30 seconds to a minute later with 5 other people. And they're like, one comes to me and says, "Oh, so you're supposed to, tell me more about that metal in the eye." And I told him the exact same story I just told you guys. Actually, without some of the drill stuff, right? I just told him to get it out, and it was in mid 80s, and I haven't had any problems with it. In fact, I'm wearing contacts now, and it just, there are no problems from that. I'm sure it's out. In fact, I don't really want the X-rays, but you guys said it was mandatory. And she goes, "Oh, well, okay. If we have to ask because when people weld and when they grind and that sort of thing." And I said, "Well, I do a lot of welding. And I do a lot of grinding, but I always wear my safety goggles, and it's on a hobby basis, so I don't do it for a living. There's very little chance that I have anything embedded in my eye, much less anywhere else." Yeah, says this guy. So they said, "Okay, well, let's just do your MRI now. MRI now." I'm like, "Yeah." 20 minutes later, and a little bit of classic rock in the headphones underneath the big dome, and I got my MRI today. How is that for a long Wednesday story that has nothing to do with the subject matter tonight? See, that's where this show gets fun, because we can talk about the subject matter, but we can actually talk about anything you guys want to whenever you call in. And hang on there, Angel. I'm getting to you. So, and I've already got the results of that MRI. This is how good they are. And remember, this was all paid for, even my deductible, because it was a pilot program. I lucked into a pilot program somehow, where they were trying to coordinate with several of these different entities and get a system down. Well, we can see that the system has a little work to be done. I hope they don't call me and tell me that I've missed my Saturday appointment now. We'll find out later. But I totally expect that call. I totally expect that call. But anyway, I got a call from my doctor maybe 2 hours later. And he says, you don't just have one bad disc. You've got two, and they're both bulging and encroaching on your spinal column. That's where you're getting the pain and the occasional numbness. Now, you got to remember that I have numbness on the my left side, top of the thigh, which is, I'll think of the name of that here in a moment. But I also, sciatica. But I also have numbness all the way up and down my right leg, as if I lay down flat. I know it's the weirdest thing, but that's been happening for probably the last 2 or 3 years, maybe longer. So the doctor said, "Well, we can do one or two things." He said, they're bulging, but they're not, to a point where I would actually suggest or say surgery. No, L4, L5 is what they told me, Jim. Said they're not bulging to the point where I would mandate or strongly suggest surgery. He said, and I've got a really good referral that has had great success with the steroid shots. I think they're just cortisone. And that can be all over the board. I've heard it from you guys. I've heard it for several other people that it can be all over the board, but it makes sense to me because I've heard so many bad things about back surgery. I've got 3 or 4 friends. I know this is all anecdotal, but I've got 3 or 4 friends that have been through back surgery and had to go back because of the back surgery, or, at least it didn't take care of what it was supposed to take care of. I know that bothers me a great deal. So I'm going to, first I'm going to find out, where the insurance company is on these shots. But I'm absolutely going to find out and go down that shot road. Even if I have to have it done every couple of years, that's okay. As long as it takes away the pain, and I know that I'm not damaging anything by just going back to my normal activities. Because what this does is it keeps me from doing my normal activities. And I wouldn't say that I'm lifting some really heavy stuff or doing a lot of bending. But we're also going to do a little physical therapy, by the way. So I'll be able to deal with it. Plus, I can use the inversion table. That guy right over there, you don't see it. Although you do see part of my drums over here, don't you? Oh, no, you don't. I've got them hidden well enough. There you go. I'll swing one right into your view there. That is actually my Gibraltar rack because of the VFW. Okay, so yeah, we're going to try a little bit of physical therapy as well, see if that helps. Hello, Chris Hope. How you doing? And I missed some other people. M Living Art, how you doing? Good to see you. Um, you know, oh, Jesse Mendez, how you doing, Jesse? Always a pleasure to have you. Not a great gamer. Welcome back to the show, man. Have I said? Okay, so if you guys, if I haven't seen you, please make sure you tag me and let me know you're here, and I will absolutely say hello, 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 because I appreciate you being here. I honestly do. Let's find out the originator's view of jury duty. By the way, tonight's topic is jury duty. Pros or cons? Call in. Okay, let's do this. Oh, look at that! I don't even have to change the name because Angel was my last guest last night. Uh,
Hey,
hey, Angel. Oh, let me hide myself, bud.
let you hide yourself?
Yeah, I have to hide myself when. Well, not you. Bring
Oh,
your video back. I see whenever I bring up a guest, the first one, I am the only one in the Zoom interface. And
oh,
yeah, and I can't hide myself until somebody comes on, but I got to remember to do that. So
ah.
how the heck are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I've been having a lot happened over the course of a few weeks or week or so since the last time I was on one of your shows here. Earlier today, I had an interview for a potential volunteer opportunity at the Arizona Science Center.
Oh, wonderful. I saw that come through on my notifications, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, bud.
That's why I was dressed like this, and that's why I had my hair all fancied up because I wanted to try to dress to impress.
Nice. That's the way to do it, man.
And the other good thing that happened this week that a lot of you guys might be still wondering about, and you might not know what it is, but a lot of people keep on asking me, like updating on my ankle and such. Well, the good news is the boot is off, but the sad thing is I still need to ride the scooter that my brother bought me because I was at an orthopedic appointment yesterday and they said I can take the boot off and start walking on both feet, but I can only walk on both feet short distances, like around my entire apartment or from my apartment to down the hallway. But I cannot walk further distances, like from my apartment over to the nearest Burger King.
Oh, okay. Well, but that'll come, right?
That'll come
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah, that's just working it out, getting back in the swing of things. Staying on the medical topic, I wanted to address M Living Art. I hope so it works out and I feel better. Oh, me too. Thanks, M Living Art. Patty says another thought, Jim, is to get a Quell device, and that's a neuro stimulator over the counter. Costly, but it can take that type of pain down. Just thought you wear it on your calf. Oh wow! Now I haven't heard about the ones you wear on your calf. I have someone that you that has one that you put literally in the area. So maybe I'll give that a shot as well. Thanks, Patty. Okay. Yeah. Jesse says, walk it off, Angel. Rub some
Jesse,
dirt on it.
Jesse.
Yeah, rub some dirt on it and walk it off.
Jesse, what am I gonna do with you?
Snap camera.
Yeah.
So what you started this subject, Angel. So tell us about your jury duty experience. Is anything changed since last
I
time?
did not go to it because I submitted a petition to be relieved from jury duty permanently.
Okay, okay. Now, was this a summons from Minnesota or Arizona?
It was a summons from Arizona because I got the summons like only 2 weeks after becoming down here because I got the summons back in the mid of August or towards the end. It was like the week when you did your TV show stream.
Oh, okay, okay. Interesting, very interesting. Do you know what it takes to be put on the jury duty list in Arizona?
No, I don't because when I came down to Arizona to officially move down here on July 29th, I had to get a lot done. Like I reapplied for residence thing. and I also applied for a few others because I applied for this thing called Access here down in Arizona. And it's a form like medical insurance by the government here in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And I also met up with my conservator a few times, and then when my conservator wanted to meet up with me, it's back in the middle of August, she notified me about the jury summons and said I would receive a copy of it in the mail, and I don't know how someone is put on a jury summons list.
Well, like I said, in Indiana, it's when you register to vote. And you can do that right at the DMV here. Now, my guess is when you applied for residency, that's what did it. I bet you anything that's what did it.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, have you ever served on a jury?
No, and I don't find it that interesting. And here's why: you ever see juries on the small claims court shows or in real small claims court over there? Like, do you ever see a jury on the People's Court? Do you ever see a jury on Judge Judy? Did you ever see a jury when Judge Joe Brown was his own? Did you ever see a jury in any small claims court? And
No.
I know small claims court is way different than criminals court, but the court is court for different various, for lawsuits, for settlements, and for criminal sentences. So it's different on various, but I don't ever see a jury summons on those kind of shows, or when a person goes for a lawsuit or settlement claim. Someone like how right now Google is being sued, and I think they had to like do a settlement a few weeks ago for something, and I doubt that there was any jury there to go in like against Google or in Google's favor.
And that's true, and I can tell you a good reason for that. One is the expense, and the overhead. We'd never get all these small cases through if we had a jury for each one of them. So they make judges the arbiter of those, smaller cases, and even non-criminal cases, just because of the overhead would just be, astronomical. We'd be paying for it for the rest of our lives. And of course, that's why you never see them, especially on the television shows. But they're reserved for those criminal cases that there's real jail time or worse at stake for the defendant, and that's why, right? Because they don't want to put it in the hands of just one. The justice system was built around peer review, and that's where the jury system came about. That's why, Angel. That's why. Yep.
I don't know the full history as to why there's a jury system here, but I kind of think in today's world we don't need one because the judges make the ruling in the end.
Well, that's not necessarily true. They can change. They hand out punishment, but the jury's verdict is that's not changeable at all, right? So if let's say that they're up for murder, and the jury finds them guilty of manslaughter, which is a change of sentence, the judge can't change that back to murder. You know what I mean? But he can inflict the harshest penalties associated with what that criminal was convicted of. It gets pretty convoluted and sometimes a little shady, but that's the gist of it. And I don't profess to be an expert about this at all. So you at home, don't take my advice as gospel.
Oh, Jim.
That was my disclaimer for the night, Angel.
Well, hey, here's my disclaimer. Is there if I turn my camera off for a quick second?
Yeah. Yeah, hope everything's okay.
Well, the thing is, Jim, you're terrific in many ways.
Well, thanks, Angel. I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you lending this, or you give me the idea for this particular show. I don't know if you were in early, but I did show your channel and gave you props, man.
Yeah, I was here like 2 minutes right after you went live, and so I was here right when you were showing it.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
But yeah, I did submit my whole the removal of jury duty thing, but I just don't find it that interesting because if I had a job at the date I was supposed to go to my jury summons, I'd be losing money, and it would be way more money than I would get if the case were to be canceled for that day.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
People got. I often heard people would get like a small amount of money, like $20, $50 for their jury duty if they have to be there or if the case is canceled for the day and such. If I had a job and I was getting a pay of like let's say $17 an hour, or I'd be losing more money from my dismiss of my job and going to jury duty than what I would get from jury duty.
That's true. That's true, and that's a lot of people's argument. And I get it. I totally get it. That happened to me as well. But you know, it was okay. It was okay. It was nice to have served at least once, just to be on that side of the process. I'm one of those guys who likes to try new and different things, right? Nice. Does that mean you're not interested?
That's because I had a gigantic meal earlier this evening because I went to Wendy's because today is National Cheeseburger Day and I had the Dave's Double Burger.
Well, we're gonna have to leave it on that note, Angel.
Before I go, I just want to thank everyone who has been wishing me luck today for my interview, and everyone who has been with me over the weekend, because one thing I want to say before I go is over the weekend I had a few seizures that had happened to me. None of them were severe, but when I said this to everyone was like wishing me the best to not have another one, and saying luckily it wasn't any worse, and just giving me the best that they can do, like praying for me, tell me that it wasn't worse. And I just want to thank everyone for their kind comments of the seizures that I had, and luckily that burp did not turn into a seizure at all.
Luckily,
because my burp is nothing but hot air.
Well, all right, yeah. Thanks for that, Angel, and thanks to you folks that did that. And I add my, you know.
Well, bye, Jim. I love you.
I love you. We'll see you, bud.
Bye.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord. What you guys didn't know was, oh, by the way, Flash in your pan, how you doing, man? I believe this is your birthday today. Well, happy birthday, Ed. Construction Cronies, how you doing? Welcome to the show. I think I saw some. Yeah, I think I saw. Oh, RJ Sharp before you. How you doing? Welcome. Welcome back, by the way. Guys, if you've got questions for me or the guest, you've got to tag me, because I thought I saw something about Angel, but he fell off. So, all right, let's get our next one up here. Oh, this is gonna kill me, man. I'm gonna have to type my ass off. Oh no, I don't. Can you hear me? Give him a moment to get the microphone. The microphone.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, how you doing, man?
It wants me to update.
You can cancel past that. You can update later. Should be able to.
It says I don't know what mic it's using. It says it's using the computer's microphone.
Yeah, it probably is. Sounds like it is. I can hear you okay.
All right.
Cool. All right. What's up, bud?
What I was saying about the jury duty is, if you skip out of that, then, you know, the only people going to jury are these liberals and all that crap, you know. So look at you and bingo, you're guilty.
I get what you're saying now. Yeah. That's actually true, man. If no matter which side of the fence you're on, if you care about justice at all, you know, you should at least serve whenever you can. I know it's tough, but
you don't get the notice that often. I mean, it's been like a decade since I've got it.
Same here, because I got it one other time, but I was never put into the pool.
Right.
That's the worst part. Being in the pool, you're just sitting in a room all day long waiting for numbers to be called up. Nowadays, they allow you to call in. But back then, man, you're just sitting around waiting for groups to be called. It sucked.
And Angel's right. You're not, you're losing your day's pay unless you have. Oh Jesus, I'm sorry. Not my day.
What was that?
It's a pump,
Oh,
a water softener.
oh, that's right. That happened last time, I think, what, didn't it?
I have no luck. I can't type in the chat. I'm screwing all of the typing up because you were talking about the air brakes, and we have this big tool you use to release the air from them.
Yeah, we didn't have that. I mean, we literally crawled. You didn't have to crawl all the way under because it was right behind the tank, right? You just release the thumb screw, and it's almost like draining a radiator on an older car. You remember the old the screw with the hole in the center? You just pull it down, and she'd lose her mud.
Back in the early '80s, you remember when those Grumman buses broke down in New York City? They all had to be refurbished.
No, I don't, huh?
All right. Well, there was 300 buses that and of course they all have air brakes, So they had this great tool. You put it in there, twist and turn, and it releases all the air pressure. So I know what you're talking about on that.
Yeah, I wish we'd had that. Probably would have saved me a lot of headache. Even to this day, can you imagine? I mean, that happened so many years ago, and it's still affecting me to this day.
I've still got the tool in my toolbox.
You do?
Over the years, yeah.
Well, it's
Never
funny.
use it again, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was just looking at my toolbox the other day, and I've got a few wrenches and a wonderful rawhide hammer from the military.
There you go.
Oh man, they were going to throw it out. I couldn't believe they were going to throw it out. It was a perfectly good rawhide hammer. Love that thing. I use it all the time.
The other thing is, we've talked about this before with the back surgery, right?
Oh, mm-hmm.
Do you recall?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I would do that inversion table until my head popped off before I did another surgery.
Yeah, yeah.
I went in for one, and they did 4. And you're tied to a doctor for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's inversion table for me.
Well, that's good to know, Jim, because yeah, the more I hear about back surgery, the less I want anything to do with it. So I'm real hopeful that these shots will at least give me a bit more mobility, if nothing else.
Before they could even do the surgery, they make you do all this nonsense. Like there's a series of 5 shots they do in your back. I don't recall what they were for, but they're supposed to numb the area out because people don't understand what you're talking about. Your thighs go numb.
Oh yeah.
And they just feel like a piece of meat hanging on your leg. You know that, right?
Yeah, with the sciatica already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a hot butter knife getting drilled through your buttocks.
Yep. Yep.
And then your thigh is hanging there like a piece of meat. I don't know how else to describe it, right?
Well, I haven't had it done, so.
No, I'm talking about the sciatica.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So then the insurance made them go in and try and cauterize the nerves.
Oh really?
That's like doing a spinal tap.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there telling you, they give you 2 milligrams of Versed and say, okay, now relax. You relax. You're about to throw a drill into my spine. You got 2 millimeters to play with there before I'm not walking anymore.
Yeah, and that gets me too. That gets me too. In fact, I was real happy after the MRI to know that I wasn't, liable to do much damage, any more damage to it, just being as gentle as I have been.
Well, here's the thing. If you go and get fusion surgery, another blessing, in 10 years, the disc above and the disc below is going to be screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what they want you to do? Another one.
Damn.
But as you get older, it starts out with triple D, you have degenerative disc disease, and then, they start bulging, then they herniate.
Yeah.
And then the doctor gets his money. That's all it was. That was a game for money.
Well, with any luck, by the time it comes to that, maybe they'll have some better surgeries. Do they not have synthetic discs yet?
Now they have stainless steel ones.
Oh, they do.
I'm sure it's not actually stainless steel. I'm sure it's metallurgic makeup that I can't remember. But I've seen it at the time when they did mine. They didn't have them, and I had also already lost one disc.
Oh, okay. I'll be damned.
From the feminism movement,
Feminism movement.
Well, you had to put women on an ambulance truck too, as well as men, and so when you're the only one picking up the patient.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I get it. You threw me for a loop there. It's like, man,
just throwing in the dig.
Don't make me do math. Oh,
they
man.
You with this short little woman who can't lift her own weight,
Yeah. I know, and this is not a dig at the ladies at all. I mean, most rational people understand the physiological difference between male and female, and I know some firefighters are in the same boat, right?
Yeah. It's a huge problem in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Emergency medical service.
Yeah. I mean, I applaud them for going in. I really do. But let's not lower the standards, across the board. Let's just change roles, right?
Now and only now in 2019 are they coming out with hydraulic lifts.
Oh, no kidding.
The stretchers will lift, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It took all these lawsuits and all that for them to get around to it.
What is pig? Never mind. We'll get him on here in a minute and talk about that. Jacob's next.
Yeah, Jacob and I have been trailing each other all evening.
Yeah, I've been popping around myself and seen him a couple places as well. Well, Jim, thanks for coming on, man. I don't know if I feel better about my back now or.
I would really, really try and avoid it because honestly, I'm stuck on medication that you can't get. They have to write you a script every month. They can't call it in. You have to go to the doctor's office and get it. Looked at the pharmacist like, do you really need this? I've actually had screaming matches with them.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Because you're on morphine.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you're on morphine because the fentanyl patches you can't wear. They're 72-hour patches. Go ahead and take a shower. Off comes your 3-day patch.
Yeah. Expensive 3-day patch, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And that's all because of the disc disease. Anything you can do to avoid that, brother, I would do.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. With your background, I take that with a little more weight than I would, normally. But and that and your experience, personal experience with it. Yeah, I appreciate it, dude.
Thank you.
Huh?
Good night and thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jim. I appreciate it, bud.
I know you got people waiting.
I do. That's okay. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. You and I always have a good talk, and I always enjoy it. Take care, bud. Oh, metal and pig bone are options. Oh, his wife has pig bone. Interesting. Well, let's find out about that, shall we? Oh man. I didn't plan to make this a back show, as you know, but that does happen occasionally. Jacob, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me this time?
I certainly can. I got to turn it down a bit. What is well, I want to ask what's new and exciting, but I kind of know since I've watched you a bunch today.
Well, we're all part, and then I forgot. I think that was that drone channel. I forgot his name.
Oh, Brad from.
Name. Yeah, we're all like the red shirt crew today, man.
Yeah, it wasn't by design. I just picked it out. No memo this time.
Yeah, we'll have to send it out next time. So at least we feel like we're coordinated a little bit.
Well, we can talk about either one because I know you want to talk about both of them. But I'm really interested in what you're talking about, the metal and the pig bone.
Yeah. So my wife, long story short, she's veteran. She was a gymnast. She broke her back as a gymnast when she was younger, so always kind of had some lower back issues. And then obviously the scar tissue and everything that kind of develops around it. Well, 2 years ago, I think it was 1 year or 2 years ago. The time all just blends in together anymore. But she rode a mechanical bull and fell off. And just the way that she fit, it wasn't a hard fall or nothing. It was just a thing. But it didn't seem like she was that hurt. She was kind of like a little sore or whichever. Well, the next day she was in excruciating pain, and nothing was really working right. Just the entire side of her body was on fire. Nothing she could do to get comfortable. And so what ended up happening is that she herniated that disc in her neck, right? About right. I forgot what L it was. If somebody here can definitely let me know. I'm wanting to say it was like L2 or L4, maybe L2. I can't remember correctly. But anyways, it ended up impinging against her spinal column, and actually pushed into it to where there was no fluid between her bone and the nerves.
Ooh.
And it just pretty much shut her down.
Oh.
And so with us having the VA, we had to wait almost 5 weeks to even get seen to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it was going to be a very expensive surgery. So we decided to go the VA route. And since she had some issues in the VA, or in her veteran experience in the past, and she has service-connected disability, it just made sense to us. So
Sure.
She went in and got the x-rays. It was all bad. So they ended up going in, and it's crazy. So they opened her up from the front of the neck, moved her esophagus over, went through her vocal cords to the disc in her neck, and then they removed the disc and they put a cadaver disc in there. And from what I recall, I believe it was pig bone, because it actually has a higher chance of not being rejected than human bone in the human body.
Interesting.
And so that's what they ended up doing. They ended up putting that in her and some meshing and everything else. But what your guest before me stated about the discs on top and below starting to degenerate because of that is absolutely true. That does happen. And that's why it was the only option for her. I mean, it almost paralyzed her. And it was the only option, and she was 27 or 28 when she had the surgery.
Uh-huh.
So they were really reluctant on doing it because she's so young, because that is going to be issues in the next decade. And it's just going to keep going.
Yeah, really. Well, though, what choice do they have? I mean, she
didn't have one.
Yeah. I would think getting it taken care of young would make it, well, almost better, right? Because you've got a better chance of the non-rejection, because it will. Oh, Ed jumped out. I was hurrying so I could get him on, wish him happy birthday, but it looks like he had to go.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's not your fault. Not your fault. But yeah, it seems like being young, it would be even more important to get it in there right away. Because especially given that she literally was almost paralyzed the way she was. Well, what was the option otherwise? Right?
There really wasn't one. Surgery was needed, and then there was also some partial fusion that had to happen as well. So I mean, it's a bad happenstance that happened, and it's just something that we're gonna have to deal with now.
Yeah.
I mean, but it definitely does help, because she was unfunctional. I mean, she couldn't sleep, she couldn't do anything. It was probably one of the hardest things I've had to see her go through. Because it was torture, and it was over a month that she was like that, and there was no kind of self-medication because it's nerve damage. So no matter how much alcohol she was drinking, no matter how many pain pills she was popping, CBD, everything, none of that worked during that time.
Right.
It's helped mitigate pain from her back injuries from the service and from gymnastics, but it was rough, and then again, it was the only option. So, but the doctors and the professionals that I've spoken to, I mean, definitely back surgery should be low on your totem pole unless you're requiring it. I totally agree with that 100%.
Yeah. And I was glad to hear that, given what they knew now about my condition, because let's not forget there's a lot of degeneration as well as some arthritis. But now that we know that I've also got bulging discs, why, I hope it doesn't go down that road. I hope it doesn't get to that point. But the doctor seems to think that I'm at a point right now where the shots may, get me going a little bit longer, keep me going a little bit longer. Yeah.
It should. I mean, I know that when I was playing arena football professionally, a lot of guys that had injuries like that, I mean, those shots are literally what kept them going.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't be down for a season due to surgery.
Right.
And some of those surgeries are career ending anyways. So, I mean, just like with me, I broke my leg 2 seasons ago and I had to hang up my cleats. I couldn't play anymore. I'm decently recovered now, but my speed will never be the same.
Yeah.
And that's with me being a very small lineman in the professional league. My speed is what got me on the teams.
Sure.
And if I lost that, I'm ineffective.
Yeah.
So it's just how the game's played.
Yeah, and I had that same thing happen with my throttle arm. I don't. This was well before I think you and I, became known to each other. Where I had a motorcycle accident. I was in a qualifier for the 125 Nationals here in Indiana. Right.
Nice.
Because I started.
That's a hell of a sport.
It was great. I loved it. Did it for about 10 years in my teens. And like I said, I was fourth in the state, so I was going to the qualifier. Because they had a series of about, I think, 5 qualifiers. And if you scored high enough, you'd go national. Well, the first qualifier during practice, 250 came up on the right side, pulled me over. It was a Honda, so the chain was on the opposite side, but my arm got sucked in between the spokes and the swing arm.
Man.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see. There's this pretty nasty scar.
There's,
yeah. I mean, you got to remember that this was probably in 1980. 81, something like that. And so it's virtually faded, but they had to reattach some ligaments and my throttle arm was never the same. And I had to give it up.
Responsiveness and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, just that little bit of speed. I mean, and that sport, man, that takes a lot of skill. That's a lifetime of riding. People don't realize just what's really required. The fine motor skills, the balance, the estimating your jumps and your launch speed, and negotiating other riders. I mean, there's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than people understand.
Oh yeah, there's nothing more crazy than heading to the first turn with about 60 other people just like you on motorized rockets, man. I got to tell you. And you're all trying to squeeze, between 25, 30 foot worth of turn. It gets ugly.
Yeah.
It gets ugly.
Crazy.
But man, I did love it. I can't even watch a race now without, tensing up and going through the couch body English. It's really strange.
Yeah, I'm the same way with football. I mean, I loved it, and when I retired from bodybuilding and powerlifting, that was kind of my bucket list. So I'm glad I made it. I mean, I started playing. I mean, I had no college experience. I played football 1 year in high school before I dropped out of high school. And so getting a walk-on, first string roster on a professional arena team with no background, and I was 31 when I started playing. I mean, so I was the older guy. The nice thing about being a lineman, though, is that as a power lifter and a bodybuilder, I was able to get that decent foundation strength and know how to leverage, and my recovery was good, and the whole 9 yards. And then a lot of the linemen are typically older guys, anyways. It's a different sport because with like your skill positions with your receivers, your corners, and even some of your mic backs or middle backs, with the way how they're so fine tuned and why there's an abundance of those types of positions, there's not an abundance of linemen. I was a 265-pound lineman and I was still running my 40, and I think my last 40 time was like 4.7. A lot of guys that big, they won't train to be able to do that because it's just a lot of work. I mean, it sucks moving that much weight all the time, that fast, over and over and over.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
And the nice thing about, having a little bit more of mass on you is that we can typically deal with injuries just a little bit better. You got a 160-pound receiver, especially in arena football, because the hits in arena ball are huge. Because when that ball is snapped, I can have 2 receivers, obviously on offense, 2 receivers are hitting the line of scrimmage and they're already at full speed.
Yeah.
And so that is, you can move the ball so much faster. And again, and that also can show just how good the cornerbacks are because they're able to backpedal and stay with these guys while they're going that fast and keep that cushion. it's really a phenomenal sport. But those guys, one big hit on those guys, and they're done. And because they're so fine tuned with their hand-eye coordination, that even a concussion can be a career ender, because they just don't fully get back to that level. Or one broken bone. I mean, even a smaller bone like a hand or an arm, and sometimes those guys will never come back from that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Jesse Mendez says it summed it up pretty much perfectly. Everything you do when you're in your youth catches up with you as you age. I dread the day it passes me. No truer words ever spoken, man. I mean, I've often said if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself.
And I second that. I think that's a military thing, though. I really do, because when I went on my third tour, I'm like, man, if I make it through this, man, I'm just, everything after that, I'm just going to consider being a gift. And so I tell you what, I rode myself hard.
Yeah.
And especially when I came back for about 2 years after. I mean, I went absolutely ballistic on myself. So
it's so easy to do. So easy to do. I mean, you're invincible when you're young anyway. Man. And like I said, we just don't have enough foresight. We don't learn from our elders.
No, we already know everything, right?
Exactly.
I mean, when you're in your 20s, I mean, who are you to tell me? I know myself better.
What's that old guy know?
That old guy, right?
Oh man. So let's get back to the jury.
Sure.
The jury subject, if you want to. And Ed, I'll stay a little bit later for you, bud. So hang in there, will you? Look, you had some things you wanted to talk about as it concerned jury duty, and I'm interested to hear it.
I am actually, I'm pretty passionate about this subject, believe it or not. So some of the points was hit a little bit earlier with the guests right before me. But I mean, here's the thing, right? So our country and our judicial system and our government and the whole 9 yards was set up for the people to take the values and to place their country before themselves. I mean, that is what was supposed to make this country great. That's why we have a volunteer military force, unless obviously the draft's implemented, because it's supposed to be people should have a patriotic duty to do something for their country. So if you take a look at the judicial system, the judicial system is not perfect. There's never going to be a perfect system. The fact of the matter is, though, is that when you have people that will do whatever that they can to not go to jury duty and to not contribute as a logical, average, or upstanding citizen, the people that are going to go to jury duty are the people that don't have the insight of working a 9-to-5 job. They don't have the insight of being business owners or people that are really looking at society as a whole. Typically, these people are going to go and try to get compensated however they can because they have all the time in the world to do that. And so jury duty to them is just a supplemental check that they'll get for, the duration of the trial. And so you have to look at what can these kinds of people actually offer, and who are these people to judge somebody else when the only thing they know in life is reality TV shows. The only thing they know in life is like this. I mean, we need people that are able to not only use logic, but are able to go on there and apply, their experience, their past experience, and things that they have learned or situations they've dealt with, again, experience, to look at something objectively without getting emotionally installed, without or emotionally involved, and make a conscious decision and understand the consequences of those decisions. A lot of people, and I hate to say it, but it tends to be the younger generation to where they don't feel that they should contribute to society in that manner. And that's one of the reasons why we're starting to have so many issues, is because they can't put their own bias aside. And that's a big thing, is bias. Like you could walk in there and you could stereotype somebody because of your bias, or if you're a more mature, seasoned person, you can go in there and be the voice of reason. And you have somebody's life in your hands. You really do. So all of that should be put aside. You cannot like how they look, how they dress, how they smell, and none of that matters. matters. The facts matter. And people that, again, that are contributors to society, I believe that they can look at things more in an objective or subjective way to make a fair decision because they understand it just outside of the courtroom as well.
Yeah, that's true. And, it's funny you say that because I really had a problem with the defendant that we were, adjudicating, if that's the proper term for this, in that he would sleep during the trial. And I found that to be extraordinarily disrespectful. And not only that, but it showed a lack of what's the word I'm looking for? Not
empathy?
Not empathy so much, because it was him.
Okay.
He didn't showed like he didn't have a lot of self-worth or enough respect for every individual in there that was actually trying to figure out whether or not he was guilty of a crime or not. I mean, if you're on trial, I don't care what it's for, the least you can do is show the people who are trying to decide your future a little bit of respect and stay awake.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, like the kid that was on the beginning of the show, right? So when you go into and again, like on those TV shows, I believe somebody commented on the chat, I don't know if it was seen or not, but the people that go on like the Judge Judy's and everything else, they do opt out of jury trial, and you have the option of doing that.
Yep.
That is your right, is you can opt out not being tried by your peers. And key word there is your peers. It's very, very hard to have somebody who has absolutely no way of getting on your level to judge you because just of the environment or their own mental capacity. They're just not able to offer a decent judgment. And that is, and again, you cannot fully agree with the judicial system, but it's one of the best systems in the world. And it's one of the reasons why we still have the innocent until proven guilty out of core law and then being judged by the people in society about what you did. It's always supposed to be, again, innocent until proven guilty. So when you go into courts, and if you go into court and you don't respect the court, you don't respect the judge, which I see this more often than not, just because of how society is going now. Like if you show up to court in shorts and a tank top, I mean, what do you expect?
I know,
especially if you're not being judged by peers. If you skip that and you just want to be judged by the judge, and then you're walking into his home, something that he has worked his entire life to get. I mean, you don't even understand what that judge had to do to sit on that chair, and then you walk in there and you disrespect the court. You don't stand. You don't appreciate the judicial system at all. It's a joke to you. What do you expect they're going to throw at you?
Right.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we're human creatures after all, right? And our perception has developed in such a way to help us survive. So we look for things like that. I mean, a lot of people say, that you can't judge a book by its cover, and I would agree with that to a certain extent. But we all judge books by the cover for a reason. And if you're going to come in with a crap book, don't be surprised when no one wants to read it. Is what you're saying in kind of a weird way that I decided to put it, but
no, but I agree. But then that also shows the importance of a jury trial,
yes,
and why people should. Because if you're going to go one-on-one with the judge, and if you're not going to put yourself at that level of professionalism and respect, then you need to be judged again by your peers. And so if you are the part of the demographic that's supposed to come into power, which is Generation Y and Generation Z coming up afterwards, you want the people that you associate with, or the people that are similar in either trends or the fight the system or whatever type of mentality that's out there now. You want people like you to show up to jury duty. So if you don't show up to jury duty, and again, it's just a joke to you, and if it's a joke and a burden for everybody else to go on jury duty, then who do you think is going to judge you? Like you're literally breaking down the system that has founded this country and made this. And again, you could not love everything about this country, and again, nobody does. But it's, as a society, we have to hold ourselves accountable for changing. If you don't like the judicial system, then go into the legal system. Be a judge, be a lawyer, be an attorney, or just do your civil duty and sit on the panel. If you want to cause a change, start there.
Right. Right.
You know, instead of expecting somebody else to do it. Because here's the thing, just like in business, you know what? Perfect example is today, right? So we just moved to Colorado. I moved my business operations down to Colorado. We got my real estate, asset in Nebraska. I was working this last year. It's on the market. I'm helping build a satellite office for another company of mine that's in contract with me. And so we moved all the mail, right? Well, I did not, and I personally didn't do it. My wife did, who's also my VP and COO. Well, I was under the assumption that she moved the business PO box down to Colorado. I just thought that she was going to do it, and so I didn't think about doing it. It's like, okay, she's got it, whatever. So, well, it never got done, and so now I've got checks coming in that I'm due for payment to some of my freelancers to pay them for their work. And I don't have the check yet. I mean, it's not going to break the bank or nothing, but it's just kind of a pain.
Sure.
So if you go through life and expecting all these other people are going to pick up the slack for you and you don't communicate, nobody's going to do it, and things just don't get done.
That's right.
That's how the real world works.
Yep. And most of those people you were just talking about are in for a rude awakening. When you know.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. Because things were, and I know all old people say this, but things were so much different when I was being brought up, right? It's like you worked for your allowance, you worked at 15, 16 for your gas money and your insurance. You know, you worked for your car. All of that happened, and nowadays that seems to be going by the wayside, partially due to the government. I mean, I'm not a fan of high minimum wages because of that, because it drives the teen unemployment rate through the roof, especially the black teen unemployment rate, which is awful, because that's where you learn life skills. That's where you learn the things that you were just talking about, Jacob. You literally learn those in your first few jobs. You learn to be on time. You learn to take instruction. You learn to serve and or perform good work. And we're literally stealing that from our kids today. Literally stealing that from our kids. And I think that's one of the saddest things. So what that really means is, going back to your point, and some people in the chat, is like, we're losing our peers. So
we are.
Yeah. So those same people that have the mindset, well, you know, somebody else will do that, are the same people who's going to be in jury, or they're going to leave those other people that probably shouldn't be on the jury left to their devices, and they're going to decide our fate in a court of law. And that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, and it goes way beyond even the judicial system.
Oh yeah.
You know, look at the political realm, and not to get political on your show, but look at the disconnect that's going there, and that's as far as I'm going to go on that. And I think everybody kind of gets the gist of that.
Yep.
You know, but the problem is that when you have the entitlement mentality of what we see today, which is very, very apparent. I mean, if you say that it doesn't exist, you're lying to yourself, because it does.
Oh yeah.
You know, and again, like you take the minimum wage example that you use, I am completely against the $15 an hour minimum wage. You look at every control group and every result and case study of these areas that are doing $15 an hour right now. It has gotten even more unsustainable in those areas for the people that were demanding the $15 an hour in the first place.
Sure.
You know,
they're being replaced. Yeah. They're being replaced. The cost of living is going up, but go ahead. Yep.
No, but I completely agree. You know, San Francisco, California, because I'm a native Californian, that is a perfect example. I mean, you have got 2-bedroom studio apartments in the Bay Area that cost nearly $3,000 a month. You know, just to stay there. Not including if the gas average in California, say $4 a gallon, in San Francisco it's probably $5.50. You know, on top of, you know, there's specialized menus for all, and these are chains, these are Denny's and stuff like that have inflated their costs just in that geographical location to keep things profitable and moving forward. Mm-hmm. So every single thing that you do does not relate to the more money you're making at $15 an hour. And not just that, but it takes away the initiative and the incentive to have people do better in life.
That's right.
real career, to get educated, to start moving on. And then how awesome it was when I got my very first promotion as a dishwasher. I was a dishwasher at Applebee's. And I got my first promotion to be the dishwasher and the GU. So I was prepping food to go out, right? And so that was like an extra, 30 something cents an hour, but I was promoted.
Yep.
And I was like, man, this is awesome.
Yep.
And you get that accomplishment, and that is what drives you forward. You can't go into an entry-level position and then have the mentality of, well, if I don't make this amount of money, then I'm just going to stay on unemployment or get on welfare because I'm actually paid more not to work than what you're paying me. So give me $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Where's the pride in that?
Yeah. It's the everyone deserves a trophy mentality.
Absolutely.
And it takes so much away from personal competition with yourself, right? Because the reason you do that, the reason you go to get, incidentally, I was actually a dishwasher at a place called Shallows here in town, and
no kidding.
Yeah, and I was promoted to fry, and I loved it. Yeah,
one of my other guys who was a dishwasher went to fry as a line cook.
Yeah,
I know that culture. And dude, that's work.
But it's a matter of pride, just making that move, because apparently, I was getting the dishes clean and quick enough, and they saw something in me that decided to move me up, and if we stop doing that, that's going to have major repercussions down the road.
Yeah, and it already has.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point, and one of the best things I ever did was leave California. And if there's anybody native California, that's not a dig on you. It's just the environment and the politics just didn't represent me anymore. And when it got to the point where flying the American flag was considered racist, I couldn't be a part of that anymore.
Yeah, I hear you.
I buried brothers in that flag.
Yeah.
And so this entire culture that has been developed just due to, just going to back to the original topic, just going to jury duty to experience it.
Yes.
To understand. That's a critical learning skill of sitting there and hearing all the facts on something, and then sitting down with your peers, having critical thinking,
Yep.
and understanding that the decision that you make has consequences for life.
Yeah.
Both ways.
Yeah.
And some people have never experienced something like that in their lives. It's a huge part of growing and understanding that you are a valuable member to society, not because you think you are, but because of these things like this are showing you that, hey, the country relies on you to put other things in front of you for the greater good of the people.
That's right. Right. Society requires that you do that as well. Well, Jacob, let's leave it there, because it's 12 after, and I want to get Ed up and wish him a happy birthday and all, and
awesome.
Get out of here within a reasonable amount of time. But dude, thanks for being on. It's always a great conversation. We could go on for hours about these things. I just know it. But you're always welcome back on. All right.
Oh no, I greatly appreciate it. I'll be here until you close down, because I learn things from you all the time, man. Like you're the generation that wrote the book that I studied to do what I do, and my job is to do the same for the generation under me. The problem is none of them read anymore.
Well, as long as we can make more of you, Jacob, that's all I care about.
That's why I'm on YouTube, man. Hopefully we can make a difference on YouTube.
That's one of the reasons I'm here too, man. All right, buddy.
All right, man. Good night, brother.
Good night to you. We could talk for hours. I just know it. It's wonderful to meet folks that share, your outlook on certain things. And he's one of them. In fact, most of the people I've had on this show, I would say, that are of that stripe, and that gives me hope. That literally gives me hope for the future. Because not only do we have to make sure that we uphold standards, but we also have to make sure that we teach the next generations those standards as well, and instill in them the same sort of pride and civic duty that we all feel. Now let's get Ed up here. No picture again, Ed.
No, sir.
I'm disappointed, man.
Oh, it's a mess.
That's okay, man. That's okay. At least you got over your blonde moment. I know you hit a button, and that's that's why you popped off of there for a minute. But I'm glad you jumped back on. I hope we're not keeping you up too late, dude.
Oh, no. I have to go to Washington next month.
Right.
And I was planning on going in March, but my whole family pretty much is being gathered. And knowing my older brother, he has good reason.
So did he call everybody up there?
Pretty much. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, it is today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
Thanks, Jim. Northern California, which is where I am from, is basically a different state. And Trans-State is separate from...
For a while now, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's... California, best thing it could do is break up into several different states.
Yeah, there was actually a move to for the northern part to secede from California as a state.
Since the 40s, there's been a movement to make a whole state out of Northern California and Southwest Oregon called the state of Jefferson.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. State of Jefferson. Even Jacob knew that. That's awesome.
And that's where I'd lived, you know. I was born in Anaheim, behind the Orange Church. And one time was probably in Southern California, one of the most conservative counties in Southern California, and wealthiest counties.
Yeah.
Even though I lived on the wrong side of the tracks. I don't miss. There's things I do miss about California and some people, but if I would have stayed, I wouldn't be here talking to you. We would have never been out on the creek gold panning, Jim.
That's true, Ed. That is absolutely true.
I'd probably be dead, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, given what you've told me. Yeah, I can see that, dude.
Dead or in prison.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're not still in California then.
Yeah, me too. No, cost of living's way too expensive, but I've been called for jury duty several times.
Have you?
One time in California was funny. I smoked a joint with the guy who picked me up hitchhiking on the way to jury duty, and I ended up just sitting there and never got called. Then there's been twice I went through the rigmarole, you know, call you up, talk to you.
Yeah.
And no, we don't want him. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the screening process.
Where's my 35-cent check? Let's get out of here. And one time I served on a jury. I kind of felt bad for the people who were trying to sue the property management company. But their pictures were all messed up. Their representation was kind of
Oh, yeah.
and with all good heart, I couldn't give it to them. You know.
Yeah.
And you know where there's some people are, oh, let's hurt the big guy and give it to them regardless.
Yeah, that's a little bit of the bias that Jacob was talking about.
Yeah,
and
that
Jim
comes
too.
With inexperience and having blinders on to the real world.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
But,
oh man.
You know,
well, I'm happy
then
that
I had to fill out paperwork to send in again. what I get, it's supposed to be a jury of your peers.
Mm-hmm. Supposed to be.
Now, whenever I've been in there, none of those people I'd ever hang out with, so they're not my peers.
No, it's that's kind of a wide term when you're talking about a jury, isn't it?
Yeah, I hear you. I know. I just had to be a smart ass.
Well, I mean, I kind of get it. What else would you say about your fellow humans? I guess that would be one way to put it, because that's really what it is. You're just, you're trial by a jury of your fellow humans, not your peers, as the strict definition of the word would tell us.
Right.
Wow. So you've been called up 4 times, and you've served once, and you even went through the screening process once.
Screening process a couple of times.
Oh, a couple times?
Didn't quite make the cut on the jury. One time I tried to get out. Well, I've been called several times and got out of them.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to be jury. I have better things to do. And instead of doing my due diligence,
mm-hmm.
and serving my civil duty.
Yep.
Which I've done a couple of times gladly. One time I served, like I said, because like construction crony or Chris,
mm-hmm.
Where is he? Is he even here anymore?
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
He was
chat
saying
for a while.
earlier it's your civic duty.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree.
Yeah. It is. It is.
When I usually talked my way out of it or said something stupid to get me, like, okay, neither one wants me now. Or, oh, yeah, hang them all.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many places that you can find those statements that'll get you out of jury duty immediately, and sometimes in trouble.
Yeah. Thank goodness I never got contempt or nothing.
Right. And there is a thing. Some people get called up a bunch, and I understand when you can't serve every single time, for sure. Hey Lloyd, how you doing? Grumpy Vlogger says he's never been called for jury duty.
Neither has Jesse.
Jesse hasn't either? Wow.
No.
Now that could be the state that you're in. You sometimes and there are several, and Ed, I don't know if you know, but there are several different criteria, I think, per state, as they select potential jury members. In Indiana, it's when you register to vote. Some people, it's when you get a driver's license. Some people, it's when you get a public ID. Other places, you'd have to manually register. I don't know, but that would be my guess. So that in their states, it's a little different for them.
Well, I believe it's like when you register to vote and your license.
Is that universal though? Does anybody know in the chat if that's a countrywide practice?
I mean, but I believe it is in Ohio.
Yeah, I know for sure it is in Indiana. But,
I believe in California, it's when you got your license.
Oh, okay. So there's a difference, right?
Citizen.
Yeah, there's a difference right there. Yes, and there's another one like Angel. I'm sure, since he doesn't have a driver's license, but I don't know if he's registered to vote since he's been in Arizona. But since he applied for his residency, then I'm sure that's why he got pulled. Interesting. One of these nights I'm going to have to look that up. What are the different requirements for being placed on the jury call list per state? That'd be interesting.
There you go.
That's when I have time. That's when they add 2 more days or 2 more hours to the day, Ed.
Gonna wait a while, brother.
Well, I've been talking about it forever. They better get on it, is all I got to say. So what'd you do for your birthday today? Anything special?
Worked.
Oh, well, that happens.
I did the executive action as high man on the totem pole on the job site. Now while Kenny's in Florida. At 4:45, at lunchtime, I'm like, hey guys, I think I'm bailing at last spray, which would be 30.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, cool, birthday boy, no problem. And I stayed through. They didn't say nothing, but we started doing our thing. And one's like, man, this sun's beating me where I'm at. It's just like dead air. And I go, yeah, I know, Teabag. I've been there in that same area. He says his name's T-Bone. He's kind of a big, fat biker guy. But we all call him Teabag. And all he does is complain. But complaint, and he's the best.
Oh, yeah.
I almost choked on that. Sorry.
That's all right.
He's an all right guy, you know. If he's here listening, which I doubt it, but you know, he's all right. But it's no one I'd ever go hang out with on the creek or anything.
Yeah.
But so at 3:45, I'm like, okay, guys, why don't you? No, it was 3:15. I'm like, why don't we roll up, get out of here? And by the time we were totally out, it was 4:45. So I'm like, let's pull out, call it a boom, get out of here. And then I came home. I'm looking at coins and nuggets, and I'm thinking about having an auction on my channel to help raise money. I talked to my oldest boy in Olympia and like, hey son, I'd love to see you a few days and hang out with the grandkids and stuff. And that determines where I fly into. SeaTac, if I can stay with you a couple of days, or PDX if I just go straight to Vancouver and hang out around my mom and my brother's area. He's like, well, my house is kind of packed. We don't have no room, which he does. Full house, his own family. I understand that. And I'm like, okay. So now I have to think about lodging because I can't really stay at mom's, and I won't stay at my brother's. And I can't necessarily drive out there and pitch a tent, which if I had more time, I'd be glad to.
Yeah.
78-hour drive, something like that.
I know, I've made it twice.
and then, you know, but I'll figure it out. So I'm thinking about selling some silver, and I'd hate to sell my gold, but maybe some gold nuggets, do a little auction.
There you go.
Thinking about it.
There you go. Well, certainly come back and let me know when that's going on, Ed. I'll send as much love as I can. From where I'm sitting.
Right.
Love to make the trip nice for you, bud.
Well, it has to be pretty soon because
right.
I have to get all my ducks in line so I can fly out. I have to be there for Saturday the 19th. I want to fly out like the 16th or the 17th, Wednesday or Thursday.
Well, that gives you almost a month.
I might even have to cancel a show on the 22nd. And that'd be a first in over 2 years.
Oh,
I
man.
have yet to cancel a show.
Oh, man.
We've had mass technical issues where we had to end it, but I've never canceled it yet.
Oh, I hate to hear that, man. Hate to hear that.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah,
you know I mean, brother.
Well, priorities, dude, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, priorities.
Even though I love the Flash fam and all the YouTube community, hey, my mom, hey, you fall way back in line there.
Yeah. And the Flash fam, I know, will understand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, without
They're
question.
the best community here. I'm sorry, too, but I'm kind of biased.
That's okay. Part of them are here.
That's true. That's true. We do have Flash fam.
Yes, we do. And they just both lolled at us.
I'm sure if we had more in here, they all be laughing.
Yes. Oh, look, Jim's talking about your red shirt in your picture. It's a whole red shirt day.
It is a red day. I forgot I did change my picture up there.
Angel, if you only had a red shirt on, man, I would have retitled this Red Shirt Day.
You blew it. Wearing that blue shirt of his.
Oh, it's 11:30, man. I know you probably got to work in the morning, don't you?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, I got to get my wife's car out to my boy's place. We're going to work on her brakes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You're a good man, Jim.
Thanks, dude. So are you. And again, happy birthday, man. It's I wish you could have taken more time off today, but sounds like it's kind of an easy day. And
it wasn't bad.
Good.
I work with some good guys, and beautiful day out. It wasn't sweltering, and I worked in the shade most of the day.
Perfect day. Perfect day to be in the shade too. I did cut my grass today, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, usually Wednesday is my lawn mowing day, and I came home and I went into the shop and I filled up a panty tub and cleaned out my gold cube, and I didn't even touch my mower. I looked at my yard and no.
It's your birthday, man. Forget about that lawn till tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah, Saturday's gonna be warm, but we're gonna be in the water finding some nuggets.
Oh, that'll be awesome, dude. That will be awesome.
See the sign? You were at the show when Dana showed his nugget, didn't you?
I didn't see his nugget. I might have to step away.
It was almost a gram nugget. 7.71 grams.
Where'd that come from?
Somewhere in your state.
No, Luke Duke has just confirmed that there is no gold in Indiana.
Yeah, but we know all prospectors are like fishermen. They lie.
That's true.
Especially when they say there's no gold in their state.
That is so true. That is so true. But
you won't. There's no gold whatsoever anywhere I go prospecting.
Nope.
None, not a zilch. Yeah, no tell them free.
Exactly. That way. Well, like I said, man, make sure you let me know when those are going to be, because I'll definitely tune in. A little low on fun money, but I'll if I see something that trips my trigger, you never know.
Well, you never know.
Yep, you just never know. I'll sell my dog or something.
Wife might not like that.
Well, I can't sell her. I already tried. Oh. Kidding. No, she's upstairs. She didn't watch the show. I could say all kinds of shit. No, I'm kidding. All right, dude. Hey, thanks again, Ed, and one for serving, and two for coming on the show, man. Always appreciate it.
Not a problem. I'm glad to see more people are pulling the trigger about hopping on your show, Jim.
It's always fun to watch that, dude. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. You got a new one, Carolina Auditor. I don't know if I've ever seen them in the channel. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Come on, people. One more thumbs down to make a thumbs up.
Do I have a thumbs down?
Yeah.
What could I have possibly done for a thumbs down?
It was probably because I came on.
Oh, heavens no. Maybe I hope it wasn't. I hope it wasn't Jelly Duck, because I saw him earlier and I didn't say hello. Jelly Duck knows I love him. Of course, I just missed his name, and there was somebody else too. And I was like, oh, mine Thailand. Oh yeah, how you doing, hon? I didn't want to miss you either.
About that before, one person keeping an eye on everything.
Oh, it's tough.
I think you have one more screen than I do too.
Yeah,
and then your eyes are on 3-4 screens, and you're doing your thing and talking to your guest, and I'm just glad I have Jesse and Dano. I can worry about the engineering aspect, and Dano looks at the chat, and Jesse asks the questions.
Yeah, that's a nice system right there. That is a nice system. One of these days.
Shortly after doing it alone, I think I'm gonna pull Jesse into this.
It's becoming a trend, I've noticed, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah. And like you said, it's getting late. I have you way into overtime.
That's okay, dude. I wanted to get you up. How could I refuse you on your birthday, dude?
What a guy. Jim, take care. Everybody out there, have a great one.
Same to you, buddy. You have a good evening. What's left of your birthday, and hope it's an easy day tomorrow for you as well.
Oh, I'm gonna try and make
it. There you go.
Gotcha. I have other guys that are helping.
There, that's where it's all about, right? All right.
It'd be a lot busier. We ran out of material that we were supposed to get today. And I'll blame that on my project manager.
Yes, they need that every once in a while.
Yeah, but what a diploma gets you from a university. Oh my God.
Hopefully an ass chewing for getting that material. All right, Ed.
Yes,
we will see you later, bud.
Yep.
Good
night, brother.
Good night. As he misses the button. There we go. Well, that was fun. I never thought I'd be that excited to talk about jury duty, but obviously that wasn't the case. I was absolutely excited to talk about it. Well, what else can I say? I mean, I totally agree with everything we talked about tonight, especially that sense of civic duty that we all must have and instill into the upcoming generations. Because you never know, could very well be them judging you as well. And even if you're clean cut and presenting yourself well, let's say you're falsely accused, you don't want somebody to come in there with preconceived notions that are unwarranted. So teach the youngins how to be as unbiased as possible. And for the love of Pete, teach them the value of $1. Make them work for what they are, or make them earn what they want. And they will appreciate it that much more. It'll help prepare them for life. Another life's lesson from Jim, the Video Call-In Show. Folks, thanks so much for being here. Always a pleasure to have you all here in the chat. Get 4 thumbs down. At least they're consistent fans. Says Grumpy Vlogger. He gets 4 thumbs down every stream. Yeah, at least they're watching enough to dislike it, and that's fine. Not everybody is for everybody. I'm good with that. I'm also good with closing down the stream. Folks, again, thanks for being here. Tomorrow night, I forgot. Tomorrow night, we're going to have a little bit of more of an open show. It's going to be Ask Me Anything. You guys have questions you'd like me to pontificate on? I warn you, I do ramble on. but the first one was a lot of fun, and I thought I'd do another one. So, hey, listen, before you go, make sure that you treat others the way you would want to be treated. If we all did that, this world would be a fantastic place. Thanks, everyone, for being here and watching. If this is your first time or you're watching this after a process, make sure you hit subscribe and the like button and share this out on your way out, and we will see you live.